So have you ever wondered about applying some embroidery to your knits? You know, I've often wondered about that too. And I just got over that hump. And today I would like to share with you a little game that I came up with that allowed me to really play with my fibers. Now, if that sounds like something you might be interested in, please keep watching. Welcome everyone to my third episode of Knitting Like a Cave Woman. My name is Miriam and I'm coming to you from Southern Illinois in the United States. All right, let's get into it. So I am just so pleased with how this turned out. It's my first time ever doing anything like this. I've just probably like you, just been really thinking about just doing something that I've never done before. And lately I've been feeling like the internet has just been like robbing me of my creativity. And so anyways, I have just been really wanting to just take a deep dive into my stash and just really get into just trying to do something so different that I've never done before. So let's talk about it. This is a plain linen tank that I have knit from, for those of you that watched my second episode, I went into length about talking about the forage tank, and this is the pattern. I'm completely changing it. I'm just knitting it in just a plain tank without the lace work, and I've completely downsized to a number 2 needle, knitting the tank into a stockinette, and then I've done the embroidery on top of that. So the leaf work is some plain cotton yarn that years ago I had gotten into weaving, and I was dyeing a lot of fiber strictly to use like on the loom. And I don't know, I haven't been weaving like in years, and I'm probably like kind of getting out of it. So I have a lot of fiber that's just been like sitting around, and I actually forgot about it until I decided to go into my stash and really look for stuff. And then I was like, oh, this would be absolutely perfect. That would blend really nicely with my 100% linen. So this is just all cotton. I thought, oh, the cotton on top of the linen, I think would be perfect. So that's what that is. And then the little squares are knit from the Ito, I think it's called Ito, this glitter yarn, this beautiful glitter yarn that I have just recently discovered. I bought this from Wool & Company just about, I don't know, like 3-4 weeks ago. And I have one more color. Just gorgeous. I bought this just because I had never seen anything like it before. And I wasn't even sure what I was going to do with it. But I just wanted it in my stash because I just thought it was so beautiful. And oh yeah, I'm going to show you some samples because I think besides the linen, which is like the love of my life, and then there's the Jameson yarn, Jameson and Smith, that I absolutely love too. I think this is now going to be added to my list as some yarns that I just have to keep buying. And also there was so many colors of this. I only bought 3 colors, but yeah, I think I'm asking for this for Christmas. So that's what the little squares are made out of. And then I'm going to come in closer. I bought these beautiful little buttons off of Etsy. and they are completely washable. And I'm telling you, I am just so absolutely pleased with how this turned out. So I want to talk about how I got into just putting this on here, because I don't want you to think that like all of this like just came to me like, and then I just had this idea and then I just threw it on here. No, I absolutely had no idea like what I was going to put on here and what my plans were. And what happened was when I decided that I was going to embroider something on here, I had just knit. Now, this is knit in two pieces. It's knit flat. There's the front piece and the back. I had finished knitting the front piece, and I had the front piece just kind of laying on this couch. And I sit in my little chair, and I was just like staring at the front piece, just laying there. And I started knitting the back, and I was just really analyzing it and thinking about it. And I decided that I did not want to put anything on here unless I was 100% in love with the idea in my mind. So when I would start thinking about things, I would just kind of like hum and haw about it, and I just wasn't sure. And so I came up with this little game. Okay, and here's my little game. I thought, you know what? I'm going to play a little game about feelings, about how I feel about this. And I know a lot of you that are probably watching this, a lot of you are probably knitters, and you've all had this experience, like when you go into a yarn shop. So my little game has 3 levels. It has a level that's up here, a level that's in the middle, and then a lower level. And they're all 3 of these are feelings. And I'm going to explain what the feelings are. Okay, the top feeling, which is the feeling that I was going for. It's the feeling that I want when I'm going to put something on here. And remember, this is just something that I just came up with. Okay, so when you're in a yarn shop and you run into a skein of yarn and you're like, oh my gosh, that is the most gorgeous yarn that I've ever seen in my life. And you start reading the fiber content, and the fiber content is just amazing. It's everything that you've been looking for. And then if you're like me, you smell it. You're like, oh my God, it smells like heaven. And you rub it on your chin, and you're just so in love with it. It's just like the best thing that you've ever seen. And then you roll it over and you look at the price tag and you're like, it's a little bit more than what I wanted to spend, but somehow you end up going home with like 4 skeins of it. Okay, that is the feeling that's up here. That's the feeling that I was like, that's the feeling that I want to have when I'm going to put something on here. Like, I got to be so sure of it. Okay, the second feeling that's right in the middle, that's the feeling when you're cruising through the yarn shop and you see the sale bin. And in the sale bin, you pick up something and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe it's $2. And your friend comes up to you and she's like, okay, Miriam, are you really going to buy that? Like, I'm not sure about it. I'm like, you know what? For $2, I think I can handle that. I'm going to buy it. It's not my color, but it's my price range. Okay. That's like right in the middle level. That's in the middle level where like, yeah, I'm kind of feeling it, but it's not right up here yet. Okay. The lowest level that's like way down here. It's not the feeling that you want, but we've all experienced this. Is when your friend comes up to you and she's like, hey, so Miriam, I got this yarn that somebody gave to me. It's not really calling to me, but like, I don't know, if you want it, you can have it, And then she gives it to you and you're like, okay, there's a reason why they got rid of this. Like, yeah, I don't want it either. Okay, that's the lowest feeling. That's not the feeling that I'm going for when I want to put something on here. Okay, so now that we've established the 3 feelings. Okay, so when I started knitting the back of this, and I'm just looking at the front stockinette linen piece that's just laying there, I started just kind of thinking about, the little chatter that's going on in my head. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll put some circles on there. What about some dots? And my little brain is chit-chatting. It's like, well, I don't know. Oh, what kind of dots would you put on there? Would they be knitted dots? And I'd be like, do I even know how to knit a dot? Do I even know how to knit a circle? And I was like, oh, maybe I could crochet a circle. And then my brain was like, it's still down here. My feelings are down here. They haven't really grown anywhere. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, but my chitter chatter in my brain is telling me, but Miriam, do you know how to, if you crocheted that, do you know how to crochet? I'm like, no, I really don't know how to crochet either. I've been talking about it for a long time, but now then I'd have to get on YouTube. I'd have to learn how to crochet a little dot, and I better like pass that up. So my feelings are like down here. I'm not feeling it. And then I was like, oh, maybe a triangle. Maybe I could put some sort of a triangle on there. And then I was like, wait a minute, didn't Star Trek have some kind of weird I'm like, no, I'm not feeling the triangle. No. So then I was like, oh, what about a square? Okay, I know I can knit a square. In fact, I do a square all the time. Like when I do a gauge swatch, I'm like, oh, okay, that's it. I'm gonna do a square. Okay, my feelings that were at the bottom, my feelings now, I felt like my feelings were starting to creep up. I felt good about the square. Okay, so I was thinking about the square. I ran into the kitchen. I got a piece of paper and I cut out a square. And then I came back and I was just kind of like moving my square around. And I was like, I was liking the square. My feelings were right in the middle. But I was like, I don't know. Like, yeah. And then I was like, maybe my square is just too big. So I ran in the kitchen and I cut my little square smaller. And I actually moved one of this little square like right around in this area, and it fit right in that area. And I was like, okay, my feelings were right in the middle. And I was like, yeah, I'm feeling that square. Okay, I did cut out some little samples here. Okay, so here's my little square, my one little square. And I was feeling really good when I put that one little square. It's all just made out of paper. And then I thought, okay, well, what does that even mean? Like, this little square there. And then I was like, that square kind of, I don't know, it just seems a little lonely to me, like it needs another square. So I put another square there, and all of a sudden I was feeling it. I was like, yeah, oh my God, I'm going somewhere. I said, that's it. I'm just feeling like I should just knit a whole bunch of little squares and just run them down. Like, so that's where I went. And my feelings, you guys, my feelings went all the way to the top. I was just like, oh yeah, I am feeling that. So then I started to think about, okay, what color is it going to be? What is the yarn that I'm going to use? I went to my yarn stash. And I just started rummaging around. Like, I just felt like the squares, like I wanted them to just pop out on the linen. And of course, that's when, I think this is called Ito. That's when the glitter yarn just like, I was like, oh yes, it has to be with the glitter yarn. So then that was it. I was running with that. My feelings were so, I was feeling it. So now this isn't something that like like I did all this like in a day, or like this is stuff that just I mulled over, for like, a couple weeks. So after I was like, knitting up my little squares, and then I blocked them. And then I was just like, okay, like now what I do. So I hand stitched my little squares on there, and that was it. I just stared at my little squares for a while. And I was just like, I don't know, I feel like the little squares, like it's lacking something, like it just needs a little bit more. So then I started thinking about buttons. I was like, oh, maybe I could put like a couple of little tiny buttons. Maybe I'll put like maybe I'll get a bigger button and put like one button on each square. So I had gotten some paper out, and like I did all this little design work, and once again, my feelings was kind of like right in the middle. I was waiting for that feeling, like where like, oh yes, that's it. So then I was just thinking like, oh, what about some lines? What if I cancel out the buttons? What if I just like put some straight lines just going down there? Okay. This is like the idea that I had. I thought I will just put some straight lines down there. And I was kind of liking it, but then I was thinking, okay, are the lines, like I still feel like maybe I'll put some buttons and have some buttons on the line. I was getting, a little bit more, that the feeling was still in the middle about the lines, but I wasn't like all the way up here with my feelings, So then I remembered years ago, I had put some lines on something, and I was like, oh, I remember I put some lines like on this vest. So I ran and I got my vest, and I looked over my vest, and this is the vest. And I knit this years ago, and I had run these lines down the front because I just had felt, and by the way, yeah, there's a whole story behind this vest. I don't know if I have time to tell you this whole story. Anyways, the vest has these little antler buttons on it, which I just think are so stinking cute. All right, so I went and I got this and I was like, oh yeah, I like the lines, but I wasn't feeling those lines like on this. Okay, I have to quickly tell you a story about this vest. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get a little off track here, but there is a super funny story about this vest. Well, it's kind of funny to me. Years ago, I used to belong to this, it was a spinning group. and I was just learning how to spin. I had just bought my wheel, and I was so excited about, like, this group was really far away from my house. I didn't know anybody. I went there, and I was such an oddball in this group. Like, they didn't know what to think of me. They were so, like, really rigid and, like, hung up on, like, all the rules of spinning, and everything had to be perfect, and this had to be, like, worsted weight, and, like, you had to spin just perfect if it was, like, woolen spun, and, like, anyways, my head was always spinning. And I just wanted to learn how to spin. And I was just like, isn't this supposed to be fun? And yeah, it was just a miserable experience for me. So anyways, I stuck it out because I was so determined to learn how to spin. And so I had told them, I'm like, okay, I have spun enough. And I knew, like, my spinning wasn't, I was just learning how to spin. So my spinning was a little wonky and stuff. And so I said, oh, I'm going to take this fiber and I'm going to knit something with it. And they were like, oh, well, you should just wait until, like, you get to be a better spinner. And I was like, no, I really want this as like a little memento, like my first, back when I was learning how to spin. And I could tell, like, I was just like too much for them. So anyways, as the months progressed, I would tell them, oh yeah, I'm working on this, vest. And then I would tell them, oh, I found these antler buttons. And anyways, I will never forget the day that I wore my vest. It was all finished. And I went in there and I was like, look, oh my gosh, look, you guys, look what I made. And I kid you not, you could have heard a pin drop. It wasn't like they were like flabbergasted that, like, I made something and I finished it. It was like the look of, like, oh my God, I can't believe she's wearing that. Like, I wouldn't get caught dead in that. And it was like it was like a big light bulb went off in my head, and I was like, yeah, after today, I am not coming back. And I was like, yeah, these are not my people. And so anyways, to this day, this is so old. I still wear this, like, in the fall, in the winter. It's one of my most beloved pieces because it's just, I know it's not perfect, but it's like, I love it. It's my first spun. The yarn is not perfect. I absolutely love the buttons. And I think I taught myself how to do these little, I don't know what you call them. I think they're from Nikki Epstein's book on, I think it's called Edgings. I don't even own the book. I think I borrowed the book from somebody, but I was like, oh, that is what I'm going to teach myself how to do that. And it's like, I don't know. Anyways, I'm sorry I got off on a complete tangent there. But anyways, I would be curious though. So anyways, every time I wear this, when I pick this up, I absolutely love this piece, but I can't help but think of the day when I wore this to that spinning group and they were just like, oh. Um, so I would like to know in the comments if any of you out there have some piece, some garment that you've knit and it has like some story, or it just like provokes memories, like, whether they're like good memories or bad memories or whatever. Anyways, I would be curious to know if someone out there has like a knit like that. Like, maybe you made a knit for a wedding or a baby or your first child or whatever. Okay, back to my story. So I was thinking about the lines, but I wasn't, like, my feelings were right in the middle. So it was getting really late one night and I was like, oh God, I should go to bed, but maybe I'll go to Etsy real quick and just look over buttons. Well, I went to Etsy, and this is like late at night. I should have been going to bed. I was typing in all kinds of buttons. I typed in plastic buttons, and then I typed in bone buttons, and then shell buttons, and then I typed in like nature buttons. And oh my gosh, these little birds came up, these little bluebirds. I knew in a split second, okay, my feelings, you guys, my feelings were right up here. My feelings were like, oh, I have to have those bird buttons. So right away, I ordered the buttons, and right there and then, my lines, I knew, I was like, okay, if I put the birds on the lines, like what is that? And you guys, I knew right there and then that my lines were going to change to plant material, like a little branch, a little twig. And I mean, if you look at both of these, just the plain lines, I mean, this one, it just has movement and it just really comes alive. So I knew right there and then that my little birds, oh my gosh, I was going to put my little birds right there, and it was going to, So I also was thinking too that, like, I was thinking a lot about how I was going to do the stitching for the branches, because don't forget, I've never embroidered anything. I don't know what I'm doing. I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to think about this just like if you watched my very first episode, I talk about how I think a lot about just being a cave woman, just a cave woman. She wouldn't have had the internet. She wouldn't have had the books. She just had to like figure it out. So I thought, you know what? I am not even going to go on the internet and look up embroidery stitches, embroidery, anything. I don't want to know. I don't want anyone telling me how I'm supposed to do something. I am just going to just freehand it, and I'm going to figure it out. So after I knew what the fiber was that I was going to stitch, and I kind of like was kind of color coding it in a little bit just to get a visual on there, I did some stitching on my little sample piece. And if you could tell right here, my stitching is really sloppy. I felt like I was like, oh no, this isn't going to be good. And then you'll see on this side right here, I feel like, oh my goodness, I completely progressed right there. Okay, and what I realized when I did this first one and it was really sloppy, I was doing the stitching and I was stitching going away from me. And for some reason, I was just completely struggling. Now, don't forget, I haven't done any embroidery, so I don't know. Maybe there's like rules on like how you're supposed to stitch. But I was like, I'm just going to allow myself to play. I am just playing. I'm having a good time, and I'm just figuring it out. So on the next time when I did this other one, I was like, I'm going to turn this around, and I'm going to come towards me and see. And oh my gosh, it was like night and day. For some reason, maybe that's how you're supposed to do embroidery. I don't know. But anyways, I ended up just figuring out a little stitch, a little, I don't even know what the stitch is. A loop-de-loop. I don't know. I kind of think it's like something like, I was thinking it's like, I don't know how to crochet, but I think I know what a chain stitch is. Like if you just did like a little chain. And actually I do that a lot when I'm making little hair ties for my hair. So I think that's called a chain stitch. So I was kind of thinking, I don't know, this could very well be called a chain stitch. I don't know. But anyways, so I just did this little loopy-loop thing. That's all I needed. That's all I knew how to do. And I did not want to go and get on the internet and do any research. I wanted to think like a cave woman. So that's all I did. I just did this little loop-de-loop stitch. It's what I felt comfortable with, and I was super excited. And then my buttons came in, and my buttons were just the right size. They were the right color. You guys, my feelings were so, completely up to here at the top. And that was it. I just was so proud of myself that I just completely designed this whole thing completely off of my feelings. So honestly, we all have creativity inside of us. We all do. No one is exempt from creativity. And no one is exempt from feelings either. We all have feelings. And sometimes I think we need to just really lean into our feelings and trust our feelings, trust our gut. So I have enjoyed knitting this so much that I have already cast it on for another tank because I've got to do another art piece. So if you guys are interested in this content and watching me design another piece, leave me a comment down below and let me know, what you think. So anyways, I wanted to show you some new colors of linen that I ordered from the Lion Brand website. I ordered this beautiful plum that I just think is so gorgeous. And I'm actually thinking about doing a squarish top with this. And then I ordered this color. This is called Topaz. I think it's like a cornflower kind of color. Yeah, absolutely love this too. And this one feels like really, really, it's weird. Sometimes the different colors come in and they feel like this one even feels even softer than the purple one, which is interesting. Okay, then I ordered, this color is called Penny. I think I'm guessing like a penny. And I've already cast it on for another tank. So this is going to be my next one that I'm going to do some little artwork on, some embroidery. And I decided that I'm going to try to teach myself just one more stitch. So then I'll have 2 stitches that I know. I thought, you know what? I'm just going to introduce this to myself in like little baby steps. And maybe that'll keep me interested in the embroidery. So here's something else that I just came up with, which is, I'm sure that you guys have all seen this before. I was at Walmart, actually. I needed to run in there and find some tapestry needles. And I came across this embroidery thread, which everybody kind of knows what embroidery thread is, but I never really buy it. And I don't know why, but this stuff was, so it's 50 cents. And I was thinking to myself, okay, it's all cotton. Oh my gosh. And these come in a gazillion colors. Like the color purple probably comes in like 15 shades of purple, maybe 20. Like the color yellow has like, 20 shades. Like it is ridiculous how many colors. I thought, oh my God, you could do like a rainbow. You could pick out just the colors of blue and do like, so anyways, I don't know why, but like my brain right there just went crazy and I ended up buying some of these. And you guys, okay, call me crazy. I'm running, this is this beautiful lavender. I hope you can see that color. Anyways, It kind of sometimes could look like a gray, but it's actually this beautiful lavender. And I'm making stripes on it on top of the white linen. So this is going to be a tank with these beautiful lavender stripes on it. Oh my gosh. So it's going to be a short little, crop tank that I could wear with my high-waisted jeans or shorts. Anyways, I'm loving this. This has so much potential. So I calculated these. I'll have to do the calculation on how many of these I needed to, but I think it's going to end up being like $6 or $8, like for these to put on here. Yeah. So for those of you who like, maybe on a serious little budget, like, yeah. Who knew? Who knew? Okay, then I took the penny color linen and this beautiful Ito color. What color is this? It's called pink gold. And you guys, I did a little swatch. Oh, look at the swatch. Is that not beautiful? Now, I don't know. You might not think it's beautiful, but I think it's gorgeous. So the swatch, it's kind of like, it kind of makes the little stripes kind of fuzzy. And I kind of like that. Like I like it in a good way. And then I also did the stripes where they're just like really crisp. Oh, I'm just not even sure which one I like more. I don't know. Honestly, I really like them both. Okay, so this one, I used this one, which was the pink gold. I ran the pink gold double. So there's 2 threads of this going through to make the stripe. And then I dropped the linen. So the linen is not running through the stripe. It's only 2 strands of this. And then for this one, when I went to do the stripe, I ran the two strands of the gold, and I still held on to the 1 strand of the linen. So there's basically 3 strands running through it. And it just makes such a beautiful, beautiful fabric. I'm telling you, I think this Ito glitter stuff, I think it just has amazing potential to do all kinds of things. Okay, so the last thing I probably need to get off of here, because this is going to go on and on and on. I've been working on some knit hats, and where's my little sheet? So right now I'm knitting the Happy Hipster hat by Lisa Diffrusia, I think is her name, and I think it's a free pattern on Ravelry. So anyways, I know you're probably thinking to yourself, how on earth am I wearing a hat with like all my hair? I am always looking for the perfect hat because I have so much hair that even in the winter time, like I just run hot all the time, probably because I have so much hair on my head. So when it gets really, really cold, I do not like wind or the cold on my ears. So I normally have my hair all braided up, and then I like my hats to be light, like just so delicate, like almost like I'm not wearing a hat on my head, if that makes any sense. And I have been on the search for the longest time for the most perfect hat for me, and I have not really found it yet. I have a lot of hats that I like, but I haven't found like, oh my God, that feeling that I'm talking about, like way up here, like, oh my God, it's my dream hat. Um, so anyways, the Happy Hipster hat, I made this one out of, what is this? Cloudborne fibers. It's merino superwash. It's just like, it's like every other hat that I have that's just like, sock yarn. I love the hat pattern. I'm not complaining about the hat pattern. It's the fiber. It's like, I just want something that's, so delicate. So then, I'm so sorry. I do not remember what the name of the sock yarn is, but it comes in this little tiny box, and I bought this at Woolen Company, and it's is it Ernst yarns, something like that. Anyways, it comes in these two little balls. They're each little skein for each foot. It's like sock yarn. Anyways, I'm sorry, I cannot remember and I've lost the box. This is my last skein that I had of it. Anyways, I love the color of the yarn, and actually I didn't follow the pattern. I just decided to wing it, and I was like, oh, I wonder if I did a decrease, like how you would decrease for like a toe of your sock, and what kind of shape that would make. And actually, it's kind of a cute little hat. I like it, but it's still, and the yarn is definitely thinner than the Cloudborne. It's definitely thinner, but it's still, it's still not my dream hat. So when I was at Woolen Company, I also bought, where is it at? I found this yarn. It is 80% wool and 20% flax, which I don't understand why they put the word flax in there. Wouldn't it be linen? Because flax is when it has not turned into yarn yet. But anyways, it says 20% flax. That's what it says. And this is by Isjager, Maryland. So anyways, I have not knit with this yet, but I'm just buying a whole bunch of yarns just to see if I could find, like, get that perfect, my dream hat. So there's one more that I bought, and I don't know. This is the one that I'm really, really hoping is going to be my dream hat. This is by that Jaeger again, but this is 100% alpaca. And the colorway is cayenne, like cayenne pepper. Okay, so I cast it on for this, and you guys, it's so, oh my gosh, it's so delicate and airy, and I still think, because it's alpaca, I don't know, I'm thinking it's going to give me warmth, but give me that little light airiness, like I'm not wearing anything on my head. Yeah, I think, like, when you had a lot of hair on your head, I don't know, it's just hard to find like the perfect hat. So anyways, I'm really banking on this really working out for me. So I'll keep you posted on that. All right, you guys, I think I'm gonna wrap up. I think I've been babbling on for a little while. I'm going to end once again with a little banjo tune. And I hope my banjo stayed in tune, because I know on the last episode, my banjo sounded so horrible, because what happened was, it's been so hot, so unbelievably hot. And I had taken my banjo outside, and I don't know, for those of you who don't know anything, banjos are notorious for going out of tune. Like, you just so much as like look at them the wrong way and they are going out of tune. So I'm just always hoping that when my banjo is just like even sitting around here, that it's kind of like holding its own until I play my tune. But I don't know, this one, her name is Kitty. And Kitty is, yeah, she's got an attitude too. So I don't know. She could very well be out of tune. All right, I'm gonna play That's How I Got to Memphis from Tom T. Hall. If you love somebody now, you'll go wherever you go. That's how I got to Memphis. That's how I got to Memphis. If you love somebody now, you'll go where your heart wants to go. That's how I got to Memphis. That's how I got to Memphis. I know if you've seen him, you tell me, 'cause you were my friend. I've got to find him and find out trouble that he's in. And if you tell me he's not here, then I will follow his tears. That's how I got to Memphis. That's how I got to Memphis. He would get mad and he'd say he'd go back to Memphis someday. That's how I got to Memphis. That's how I got to Memphis. I haven't eaten a bite or slept for 3 days and a night. That's how I got to Memphis. How I got to Memphis. I've got to find him, tell him that I love him so. I just won't rest till I find out why he had to go. Thank you for your precious time. Oh, forgive me if I started crying. That's how I got to Memphis. 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 All right, everybody. Thank you for watching.